Yeah, you can't indulge in that. That's the problem. Your Uncle Dave and I can, as we record here on September the 11th, 2024, for the weekend edition, but we have to nurse you through your Saturday morning hangover.
Yep, you overdid it. We did not.
See, that's the glory. That's the beauty of being the host of this podcast, is that we get to dictate how you recover from your awful, terrible, nasty overindulgence on Friday night.
Exactly. We can overindulge on Friday night, and you would never know because we record this on Wednesday nights.
Of course, this is dropping on September the 14th, your Saturday morning. Hangover Cure. He's a conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Yes, this is your Saturday morning hangover cure.
Your politically incorrect pop culture commentary.
Yep. Now, I will admit, right off the bat, this is going to be a little light. This could be one of the lightest, shortest weekend editions ever, because we don't have a book review. Not yet.
No, it was first full weekend of NFL football.
That's the thing. That's what really throws off the whole dynamic here as well. Our sports edition, which we drop every Thursday morning, is now going 2+ hours. It kind of takes away from the weekend edition because there's less time to devote to music and to movies and to TV shows.
And reading.
But we will do the best we can for you. We do have an album review and a movie review. And then we've got a couple topics that we're going to delve into in pop culture. So you'll still get a good hour out of us.
Yep. We'll keep you entertained, as we always do.
Yep. So what do we start off with as always, Dave?
We start off with music because it's all about rock and roll, baby.
Yes, now keep in mind, next week we jump back on the concert review bandwagon for 2 weeks. Next week on the weekend edition, live, Stone Temple Pilots. No, live the band.
Yes.
3 bands, live, Stone Temple Pilots, and Soul Asylum. And then, in 2 weeks, Clutch and
Rival Sons.
And a little band called Fu Manchu.
Yep.
So we're going to see how that plays out. That should be interesting.
That'll definitely be an interesting show.
So, for this week, one of our little hidden secret bands that Dave and I have discovered. Dave discovered them. I need to give full credit to the conquistador. He discovered this band. He exposed them to me. Not in that way!
Hey,
you dirty, filthy perverts!
Just because you didn't get exposed last night.
Or she didn't expose herself to you.
There was no exposure.
No. But there is The Southern.
By the Cold Stairs.
The brand new album from the Cold Stairs. Very, very excited about this. Loved the last album. That's when Dave brought me in on this band.
Yep. This one had an experimental feel to it almost.
You think so?
There was a lot of tempo and vocal range changes throughout most of these songs.
Okay. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it seemed to kind of roller coaster with things a bit.
All right, well, let's compare and contrast.
That doesn't mean I hated it.
No, I didn't imply or take that inference.
I'm letting them know.
Let's try to do this a different way. Okay, so there's 11 songs here on the Southern.
You want to go backwards?
No, let's start off with what were your favorite songs. I got 3 that stood out.
I liked the first one, Horses to Water. I also enjoyed Blow Wind Blow and No Love in the City Anymore.
So those are your top 3.
Those are my top 3.
That's what you're going with.
That's what I'm going with.
Completely different from me. by far, my three favorites were Mortality Blues, the final song,
I enjoyed that one.
Level Floor Blues, which I loved.
That I wasn't a fan of.
Oh my God, I love that.
It seemed like
That's got that
it had
old
a-
school blues feel
it
to
had
it. With
it was a Droll Doors knockoff to me.
Oh, that's the whole thing with the lover is dead, level
Yeah,
with the
I
floor.
just
Oh wow, okay,
that was probably my least favorite.
really?
Yes,
Least favorite.
least favorite.
Wow. And then of course I loved Looking for a Fight. I think
That was number 4.
Looking for a Fight lyrically is so appropriate for these times we're living in. If you listen to it, I think they're trying to tell us, listen, let me say what I want to say. Let me express my opinion. You don't get to talk over me or tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, that was my number 4.
That was my favorite song on the album.
There you go.
Easily my favorite. Now, that doesn't mean Horse to Water's fine. I liked Horse to Water. And I did love the other two, Blow and Blow and No Love in the City Anymore. So maybe we're looking at this the wrong way.
Potentially.
Let's go from picking our favorite songs to overall, how did you feel about the album? Now, you said you thought it was experimental.
It sounded kind of... It just seemed like they were all over with their tempos and changes and everything.
See, I don't get where you're... To me, this was pretty straightforward, blues album.
I don't know. I will give it a weak 3.
Okay. I will give it a solid 3. So we're not too far off there.
We're not too far off.
But, yeah,
there were just a couple of... I
don't see where you're getting the tempo changes from. This is basically a white trio doing bar blues. Is what it is.
To me, it seemed a little all over, like they jumped around.
See, I did not get that at all.
So
I thought all the songs. If I would have a criticism about it, it would be that the Cold Stares have a very specific sound that they don't deviate much from.
Yeah, because Giving It Up and what was it? I think
Giving It
Coming
Up to me.
Home.
Yes, those are basic.
They had almost the same sound to them.
Yes. Yeah, those are your basic blues workouts.
Yeah, there was almost very little differentiation between those two.
And the thing is, that can work for you, and that can work against you. If you've got a formula that works and works really well for you, and you want to keep running it through over and over and over again, at some point, it's going to get tiresome. Now,
yes.
I don't think they've gotten there yet with the Southern, but they might need to change things up.
They need a little bit newer inspiration.
And I hate to, because most of the time when a band who's doing well,
if they go off the rails, it usually ends horribly.
Right. So
the Black Moods have done with their last album.
Yes, the last 2 songs that they've put out.
Like what happened with Greta Van Fleet.
Yes. That could be the best example. Greta Van Fleet could be the best example of a band that went completely off the rails from where their musical mission statement seemed to be taking them and alienated fans like you and me. I don't know. I will never listen to Greta Van Fleet again unless somebody tells me they've gone back to the old sound.
And unless they get a different record company or a different producer.
Somebody with some balls to tell them this isn't working.
Yeah, go back to what worked for you.
Yeah. And like you said, the Black Moods, the last 2 songs they've put out, do not like the direction they're going.
No.
So, On the flip side, you get the Cold Stares, who are, in my opinion, locked in. You don't seem to think so, but to me, this album feels like they're locked in, for better or for worse, to their sound. Again, a white boy trio.
Yeah.
That's not disparaging.
No, because you had the great ZZ Top.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of the inspiration for this band comes from.
A little bit comes from that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they don't have Billy Gibbons playing guitar, although the guitar work here is
very solid.
Very solid. You can hear it in Confession. Confession, I give them a ton of credit for the beginning riff. Sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan. It sounds like they have brought Stevie Ray Vaughan back from the grave for the first 20 seconds of that song.
Yeah. It also gave me the Chili Peppers vibe a little bit with the bass going in there too. And then one thing I kind of was digging with 7 Ways to Sundown, the intro kind of had just the first few seconds. You got the "Don't Come Round Here No More" vibe, along with the tick 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 part of "Keep 'Em Separated."
Yeah, I did like 7 Ways to Sundown a lot.
So I just thought that was kind of an interesting little first few second intro where I got those 2 songs, and then they went into, and it was a pretty good song.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think you pointed out the ones that I thought were pretty standard blues.
Yeah.
I can't say I didn't dislike any of the songs on the album, but
yeah, I didn't hate any of them.
Coming Home is pretty standard, like you pointed out. Giving It Up, pretty standard. And I would lump Woman in with that, too.
Yeah, that was pretty...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I still give it a solid 3. Definitely an album.
I'll give it a weak 3.
Definitely.
One of the better ones one of the better ones we've gotten this year.
Yeah, and again, what does that say about the state of music that we can't get more good albums?
I know.
I mean, usually, I'm not. This is a backhanded compliment for the Cold Stares. Usually, this album, in a really good year for music, probably wouldn't even crack the top 10. But now,
yeah, now they're a top 5 with this one.
They could be a top 5, just because there is so little.
There's little new music coming out,
and what
it is, it's only half an album is worthwhile.
Right. And this is definitely more solid. This at least feels like a solid 11-song album with some sort of a purpose.
Yes.
Now, we do have, in October, we will have a lot of new albums to review. We'll have Miles Kennedy. We'll have
high expectations.
I know. I'm trying.
I'm trying to temper.
Yes, because we don't want to put that burden on him. We got Jerry Cantrell. We've got The Offspring. Yep. So we'll have one last run here before the end of the year.
We'll have the runs, kids.
But I'll tell you what, even though he's an asshole and I can't stand him, I'm still, right now, that Jack White album is probably number 1 for me.
It was really damn good.
But yeah, he's
just a doofus.
Yeah, okay. Suing Donald Trump because Donald Trump played one of his songs at one of his rallies. Says, I'm going to sue the fascist.
Okay.
Again, why doesn't anybody get to call Jack White names? Hey, Jack, you're a pussy. How about that? Come after me, you pussy. This is what Democrats are fucking awful. All they do is they bully people and bully people.
Bully.
And then they go, well, we stand up against bullies, you fucking hypocritical liars. You would like nothing better than to destroy every other political party so you all get to reign supreme. All the celebrities and the movie stars.
Oh, the celebrities are the worst bullies out there.
Which brings us to our next little discussion topic for rock and roll. Now, if you listened to our sports edition a few days ago, which you should, by the way, every Thursday morning, you will know that we talked about Among other topics, one Tyreek Hill. Now, Tyreek Hill is a wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, and he recently got in an incident with police officers.
Yep, pulled over for speeding, and he copped an awful entitled attitude and would not listen to direction. So he got removed from his vehicle and detained.
Now, I want to give you some statistics, and then we're going to bring this all around full circle to rock and roll. So, people who want to stand up for Tyreek Hill, I just want to point some things out. Currently, as of September the 11th, as we tape, Tyreek Hill has 10 kids with 4 different women. Soon to be 11 kids with 5 different women.
Yeah. All right, Nick Cannon Jr.
In 2014, he got 3 years probation, kicked off his college football team for domestic assault. In 2019, an investigation into child abuse. In 2023, a settlement out of court on an assault charge. So here's where I'm going with this. And I am in no way, shape, or form...
He is not a scion of society.
No. He is not a paragon of virtue. But I want to discuss how we look at celebrities, and in this case, we're going to get to rock and roll stars. And are we being unfair? Now, in the case of Tyreek Hill, I think he's a scumbag beyond belief. And the fact that people are still sticking up for him in this traffic stop is pathetic. But
it's sad.
But
I'm a Dolphins fan, and he was in the wrong.
But I know it's not. This is the weekend edition. This is not normally where we go. But I'm using this.
It's a lead-in.
I'm using this as a compare and contrast. I find it odd, number one, that this story didn't get more coverage. But I look at it and go, should it have gotten more coverage? Are we making too much of a big deal about it? Dave Grohl, of course, formerly of Nirvana, now, of course, the leader of arguably the most successful rock band in the world, Foo Fighters, came out this week and said, despite the fact he has been in a marriage for 21 years with 3 daughters, he cheated on his wife and has now have a daughter out of wedlock with another woman.
Now, would we have known about this if he wouldn't have posted it?
Right. Now, do we give him credit for being open about this? In the end, it's his
we
own
hold him accountable.
Right. In the end, he's got to reconcile this with his family.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that drives me crazy about this is that why I compare Tyreek Hill, obviously, Tyreek Hill just basically looks like he sleeps with anybody he wants whenever he wants and knocks him up and goes, oh, who cares about the repercussions and the ramifications? I'm just having a kid with... Where does the responsibility come in? Where does the personal responsibility come in? Now, here's the thing with Dave Grohl and how I'm trying to do this comparison. Are we being too hard on Dave Grohl if we say we've lost respect for him because he did this? Are we wrong for saying we lost respect for him? Because let's keep in mind the fact that the rock and roll press, the media in general, have propped Dave Grohl up and acted like he was the nicest, cleanest, greatest guy in the world. And now we find out that, no, he screwed around on his wife. And now it's coming out that his first major...
And the only one we know about...
Well, that's the thing.
This is the only one we know about.
I guess his first serious relationship ended because he was cheating on her as well.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are going to say, Oh, dude, that's rock and roll, man. That's just what they do. Look at Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler pretty much derailed his career by admitting that he was lusting after and possibly screwing around with an underage girl in the 70s.
Or he convinced her parents to give him guardianship.
And we're not trying to be religious, we're not overly pious here. We're not trying to preach some kind of gospel here. But I think what I'm trying to get at is, why do these celebrities, these rock and roll stars, get a free pass, whereas if it was you or me, it would destroy our lives? And that's the thing that I hate.
Yeah, the double standard is ridiculous.
So now what we've got to do, and I've always said, I'm not going to say bragged, but I've always been able to, unlike other people, and they can do what they want. If they want to take somebody and find something in their personal life that they hate, and they say, I'm not watching that person's movies anymore, I'm not listening to their music anymore, that's fine. That's your choice. I can separate the two. I know Kevin Spacey is a dirtbag, but I will still
he's a damn good actor.
And I will appreciate all the movies, Baby Driver, Usual Suspects, that I've watched him in, that I think he's phenomenal in. Just like I will still listen to the Foo Fighters.
I will still see them in concert if they ever come around and not cancel on us.
But I think the lesson we've got to take from this, and I think this is a very, very insidious, evil part of our society, is we have got to stop the hero worship.
Yes.
We have got to stop acting like actors and celebrities, rock stars are better than us, because they're not. Because
That's their damn job.
Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris shouldn't sway your vote. You should make your own decision and your own choice based on research. Because
celebrities and athletes, shut up and entertain us. We don't care what your views are. Don't lecture us during your performances. That's not what you're about. You're there to entertain us. End of story.
And I agree with that completely. And a lot of people might take offense to that and go, oh, you guys are just like when the Dixie Chicks, and everybody said, shut up and sing. Shut up and sing. I'll stick by that to this day. Shut up and sing. Because until you can show me your master's degree from an Ivy League school in political science, I don't want to hear about your bullshit political beliefs.
And guess what? Even if you have a degree in political science, I don't give a shit about your political beliefs. It holds no more sway than Joe Blow down the street.
Because we all have one vote. And that's what we've got to remember. We all have one vote. Doesn't matter what George Clooney thinks. His vote only counts as much as your vote. In a roundabout way, what I'm getting at is, don't worship these people. Dave Grohl, obviously now, no better than any common person who made a mistake.
Charles Barkley was right. I'm not a role model.
So again, we will not judge Dave Grohl. We will still go to see the Foo Fighters. We will still listen to their music. But I'll tell you what, it just reinforces my opinion, which I think is based in many, many years and decades of observation and fact, that celebrities love to do whatever they want to do and preach to you, don't do what I do.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. And they'll be the first ones to go off in their little island, having fun, doing the most tawdry, awful things.
Oh, we have to stop global warming. You have to do this, that, and the other, while I fly alone on my private jet halfway around the world, or sail in my mega yacht burning tens of thousands of gallons of diesel fuel.
That sounds like Leo DiCaprio, if I'm not mistaken. Hypocrite. Hypocrite beyond belief. You can go back to Al Gore. Al Gore.
Reduce your carbon footprint while I have the biggest friggin' compound ever that you can see from space.
Yep. So once again, Dave Grohl has probably messed up his life. I will be interested to see how he reacts to this, because he has 3 daughters from his marriage, and now he's going to have another daughter from wedlock. And a lot of people are saying he's destroyed his life. I'm like, well, why would you think he's destroyed his life when all these other celebrities do shit that's as bad, if not worse?
How many kids with multiple women?
And say the most disgusting, awful things, and they get away with it. So why won't Dave Grohl be able to get away with it? Because we held him to a higher standard? Because we expected him to be some knight in shining armor in the world of rock and roll?
Yeah. Good luck with that.
So I'm gonna defend him on one level and chastise him on another.
There you go.
But the lesson to be learned here is,
don't fuck around, and don't hold celebrities to a higher this pedestal.
if anything, they're going to end up being worse than us.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the fear of repercussions. They've got high-priced lawyers to get them out of trouble, agents to get them out of trouble.
Gee.
And they've got enough money to buy off somebody.
Kind of sounds like the Soups and the Boys, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it does. So on that, we'll move on. I just wanted to make a point about this. Is that on one level, Dave Grohl, fallible like the rest of us. Maybe we put him on a pedestal for all the wrong reasons. But number two, keep in mind that they are just as awful and terrible and flawed as we are, if not more so, because they don't have to pay the dear price that we would have to. Think about drunk driving. Think about assault.
Anything and everything.
Domestic arrests.
How much gets covered up?
All right, we don't have any TV and streaming this week, but a couple things to just bring up here. I'm going to start watching, I believe, Tracker. I think I'm going to watch season 1 catch up before season 2 kicks in.
It's everything wraps up in an hour. It's all right. It's not bad.
Yeah, I
want to give it
a shot.
It could be better.
I want to give it a shot.
But it has its flaws, like anything. But
yep.
But at least, as in the book, he's not a goody-goody.
Well, that's the main reason I want to watch it, because at least it's based on a book, an author that I know. So I know the core there is probably solid. It's just how much does the network screw it up?
A little bit. They take their liberties, but the character at its base is solid.
Now, of course, that leads me into some TV and streaming series news that I don't think you're going to be really happy with.
When are we ever happy with news?
Bosch Legacy will be ending in 2025 after season 3.
Of course, anything good, they have to end. And all the bullshit crap continues on.
But supposedly, there's a Renee Ballard series coming at some point.
Yay.
Now, I thought you liked Renee Ballard.
She's all right. If given the choice between Ballard coming in or Bosch continuing, give me Bosch any day of the week.
That leads me into a good question, because obviously I follow the literary world like you do.
But Bosch plays a huge role in the Ballard books.
I was going to say, are we looking at with Michael Connolly now, from what I've seen, are there Bosch books, or now is it Ballard and Bosch?
You still get Bosch, but when you get a Ballard, Bosch plays a role.
Okay.
And now with the Lincoln Lawyer, the last couple books, Bosch is playing a role.
With the Lincoln Lawyer? Really?
Because they're half brothers. And so with Bosch now retired as a private eye, Mickey has Bosch as one of his investigators.
Which
along
is
with
interesting
Cisco.
because Bosch is with Amazon and the Lincoln Lawyer is on Netflix.
But you don't see Bosch in the Lincoln Lawyer at this point.
Okay.
So now, as things change, who knows? But in the literary world, that's what you've got.
But you're telling me you do not like Renee Ballard all that much.
It's okay. She's okay. I didn't care for the first couple, but the last two have been decent. But still, give me Bosch.
Well, how are you going to feel about this now? Because, of course, you and I are both huge Jack Reacher fans. We've read all the books. We have liked what Amazon has done with the first 2 seasons of Reacher, even though...
They've taken some liberties.
Yeah, and Helen Rickson's off-screen is a...
Douchebag.
Another example, another lesson to be learned, like we were just talking about a few minutes ago. Alan Rickson off camera is an absolute jackass. Anti-police, radical libtard, but he is much better, except for Tom Cruise. I mean, that...
Kiss my ass.
I know, I can get him with that. No. Alan Rickson
Shut
is
up, Kev.
obviously a lot better. He will not watch the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies because of principalities.
That's right.
And they're good. They actually are really good. But
Don't care.
Alan Rickson is much better as Reacher. I think we can all agree on that. But now we got season 3 coming out next year, and they have made a point of, when season 1 came out, based on The Killing Floor, Frances Neely was in it, even though she was in the TV show, even though she was not in the book. Now, season 2, she was part of it, the book and the series.
Rightly so.
That's Bad Luck and Trouble.
Yep.
And then season 3 is going to be based on Persuader, and they made a big deal about pointing out that, oh, even though she's not in the book, Frances Neely will be in Reacher season 3.
Just give me a freaking true story.
Well, Dave, now we are going to get Neely, the limited series, or the series.
She doesn't even have her own damn book.
I'm sure those are coming. I was going to bounce that off you. I think the books are coming. I think we're going to see like what we see
Andrew.
with John Sanford and Letty Davenport.
That's or
Michael Connolly and Renee Ballard. This is where these authors are being pushed. They are being told men don't matter anymore. You and I have had this discussion for years and years. You look at Oprah Winfrey.
Do I have to?
She's tried to destroy men in the publishing world by getting her little lemmings to only buy books by women. You see it in Target now. You look at a Target ad, and any book in a Target ad, it's all women. Amazon has now gone this way.
Oh, Amazon's awful with that crap.
Men are Neanderthals. We drink beer, watch football, scratch our balls. Women are so sophisticated and refined. We read books, five books a week, and we're so smart. Fuck you! Fuck you! How about that? You hypocrites! We're the ones that keep Lee Child at the top of the charts.
John Sanford.
Robert B. Parker. James
Michael
Lee
Connolly.
Burke. And you keep insinuating yourselves and say, well, you don't have enough characters for women. So now we have to change
No,
the for women.
You've got more damn characters for women than you do for men. So shut the hell up.
I guarantee you, within the next year, we will see a Lee Child and Andrew Child.
No, it's going to be Andrew.
Based on
It's
Francis
going to be
Neely.
Andrew writing a Neely book.
And I might be done with it at that point. Robert B. Parker had to write Sonny Randall books. Had to have a female detective. What? Do we require women to write books about men?
No.
But somehow the reverse is true.
Excuse me. When's Iris Johansson gonna write about a male lead?
I just don't like it. I don't like this bullshit at all, where you force every male author to have a female protagonist.
Then let's switch it around.
But you don't make the women do it. Janet Ivanovich. Drop Stephanie Plum. Focus on the... Wasn't there a male character in there?
Oh, there's two.
Yeah, focus on
There's
them.
Morelli and Ranger, although...
Focus on them.
Let's get a Morelli story. Let's get a Ranger story.
No, not in this fucking day and age. And I'm sorry, I mentioned on the sports edition this week, I'm pissed off at the world today. Today, when we're taping both this episode and that episode. Because I'm tired of this hypocrisy. I'm tired of this bullshit.
With everything going on in the political climate, as I said on the sports show, America's had a good 248-year run. And the last dozen have been questionable.
And I still think 10 years from now, this country is done as we know it. It's done.
You're giving it 10?
You're seeing it in entertainment, you're seeing it in music, you're seeing it in movies. They're hypocrites. Great discussion I had at the tailgater at the Notre Dame game this past weekend. Talking about, isn't it funny how in advertising we're always told 18 to 49. That's the target market.
Yeah.
18 to 49. So you and I are irrelevant since we're over 50. Yet why is it all the car commercials, all the commercials keep playing classic rock from the 70s? Nobody 18 to 49 knows these songs like we do. So we don't matter.
But yet
I'm hearing car commercials with Hart, Barracuda, and the Doobie Brothers.
Make up your mind. Appropriating our music. Do we matter? Younger generations.
Do we matter or do we not matter? Just make up your mind.
It's matter versus antimatter.
Get off my lawn, leave me alone. Otherwise, don't take my music and act like, oh, well, don't you want to buy a Hyundai SUV?
Hell no.
Here, we'll play Doobie Brothers for you. And, finally.
No, give me my gas-guzzling four-wheel drive pickup.
Come on, don't you want an SUV powered by batteries that weighs 10,000 pounds and
that destroys the earth more than
sinks into the concrete, destroys the suspension?
Yeah, mining for all the minerals is more destructive to the earth than drilling for oil. Plus, you can't get rid of the batteries. What's a bigger hazard to the planet?
They're hypocrites, Dave. They're all hypocrites.
Yes, they are.
And then finally, here in TV and streaming, and then we move on to our big movie review of the week. Just a little bit of good news. Next year, we're going to get it at some point, I think. Hopefully. Production has begun on Happy Gilmore 2.
Woohoo!
Let's just hope they don't fuck it up. Like,
they've taken their time with it. They didn't rush it. That's a good thing.
Kind of like Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. They didn't rush it.
So
they waited until they had a solid idea and worked on it.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that this will be decent and good. All right, kids. Now we move on to movies. But first,
Yep, we have Spotify, Pocket Cast. Hey, Good Pods, new platform.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, baby. Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
of course, that is otherwise known as iHeartRadio. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page, especially if you want to dive into our sports picks. Because, of course, this is not the only episode we do every week.
We do your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary. Drops on Thursdays.
So, our movie review of the week is The Watchers, which, of course, is Hollywood nepotism at work.
Pretty much.
Where you've got M. Night Shyamalan's daughter getting her first crack at running a movie. I'm not a big nepotism fan. Let's put it that way. I get very upset when it doesn't matter if we're talking sports, it doesn't matter if we're talking music, it doesn't matter if we're talking movies and TV. If you are just giving a job
to somebody because of who their parents are,
you're blocking somebody who arguably could be much more talented from getting that job just because you want to kiss the ass of the celebrity parent. And I don't like it. So, are we going to judge The Watchers? Are we going to judge M. Night Shyamalan's daughter favorably? Is this actually a full-on Nepo project, or is there some redeeming qualities and values to The Watchers?
Going in, I had low expectations.
I did as well.
I was pleasantly surprised. I really loved the premise behind this one. The setup, little slowish, but then that's typical of what her father's movies are. So his inspiration is in there. But it did pick up and got really interesting. And as a pseudo horror movie, I guess you could call it a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's one of the better ones that I've seen in the last few years.
Yeah, it's sci-fi horror, I guess you'd call it.
So I give it props for originality on the story.
Yeah, I came in just like you with low expectations. I didn't expect a lot. And again, this is the media. The media comes out and says, oh, this is crap, this is garbage. And they have the power to destroy a movie right away. And they did with this one. This one didn't even make $20 million at the domestic box office.
Which is kind of sad because it should have done better.
The movie I will always pick on.
Smile.
How
awful.
That piece of crap made over $80 million at the box office is beyond me, and now they're going to have a sequel coming out.
No. I tried it. I lasted 10 minutes.
I don't even know if you told me you tried to watch it.
Yeah, I didn't want to admit it, but I have to. Basing that versus The Watchers, I will watch The Watchers over Smile any day. Smile sucked.
Yeah, The Watchers, here's the interesting thing about The Watchers, and I'm pretty much on the same page as you. I thought it was going to go down, again, preconceived notions based on what I was hearing. So I was expecting at some point for the movie to fall apart. I was expecting it to just become a complete and total shit show. And I thought I knew where it was going, and then it would become a shit show. So I can discuss this because I'm not spoiling. I'm telling you what it wasn't. I thought this was going to end up being one of those movies where it was all in her mind. This is the main character, Dakota Fanning.
Yeah.
It seemed like there were indications
that she had problems
mental
mentally,
problems, and I thought this was going to be almost like a Bobby Ewing shower thing, where it was like it was all in my head. It was all,
yeah.
All these different characters in the story
I had to
are
work
parts
through
of
my personal demons coming out, and
yeah. Now, if you've ever seen the movie Identity, maybe I thought the path they were kind of going down but Identity is really well done.
Yeah.
Where all the different characters are pieces of the one character's,
psyche.
Luckily, this tended to, it said, we're going to go down a straight and narrow path. It's going to be fantasy, sci-fi. It's grounded in reality. Well, ish. So that was a pleasant surprise that they didn't go down this whole, it's just a dream road.
Yeah, that would have been a cop-out.
Yeah. And for the most part, explaining what they were doing with the coup, they did a decent job of explaining how that came to be, and then the rules were a big part of it in terms of you have to stand in front of the mirror, and you can only go to the point of no return. Can't go beyond that, otherwise
you're never going to get back in time and before nightfall.
Yep, and then
the discovery underneath.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. I really didn't. Did I like it? I don't know. I would. This is a very tough movie for me to rate.
I was into it. It was going along. And then near the end, there hit a point where it kind of left me wanting a little bit. Where you had a resolution with all that was going on, but it didn't feel complete.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, it was there, but
there was an
end, so it is open-ended. And the character...
It didn't feel like they were setting it up for a sequel.
No, they didn't.
But you're right.
But you knew that particular character, there was something going on there. That you focused on that one character from the coup. That you knew that person is going to be the linchpin to the whole thing.
There is a little bit of a really good mystery behind the scenes too, in terms of how they wrote it.
The backstory behind the whole bit,
and we're trying not to give too much away here. Now, it's not. It doesn't have the massive twist that her father's movies would have. It has a little bit of a twist, but something you could almost kind of see coming.
Yeah. Yes, to a point.
Right. And like I said, I went in low expectations, and then after about halfway through, I thought it was going to go down that path of the easy cop-out, and it didn't, and it actually proved to be a much better movie than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Is it fantastic? No, it's not in the upper echelon of movies.
No.
Is it worth watching? Yes. So it's a strong 2.5.
Yeah, this has been so tough for me.
I know. I've been going back and forth. Where do I go with it?
Yeah, because I finished it up on a Monday morning, and I've been banding it around for the last 2 days trying to figure out how strong of a recommendation or what rating I want to give it. And it's tough. This is a tough one for me. I will say I can't recommend it. I just can't. Because there's something about it that irritates me, that rubs me the wrong way. But it's so close. It is so close.
If you're looking for something that you need to fill time, it's one of those.
Yeah, it's definitely better than a lot of the crappy horror movies we review on this show. It seems like every other week.
Yeah,
It's
we're
better than
suckers for horror movies.
this one.
This
Holds together much better.
Yes,
than
it
most
does.
of those. It's better than Night Swim.
Oh God,
It's better than
yes.
Smile. And pretty much 90% of the horror movies we've discussed in the last year, it's better than those.
Yes.
Does that mean it's great?
Not really.
I'm going to go strong 2. I'm going to go a strong 2.
Okay.
But I can understand why you give it the rating you do, because I lean that way, but there's just something about the Watchers that I can't
There's
bump it up to the next level.
There's just something, I don't know what it was.
Yeah. I think it was just a little, it's only an hour and 40 minutes, but it's a little slow at times.
That could be the pacing of it, especially initially. And I thought at the beginning, in the pet store, not giving anything away.
No, this is early on.
But you never saw the face of the pet shop owner. And I thought that was going to come into play somehow. And it didn't.
And of course she names the bird that she takes from the pet store Darwin. So that has implications and meanings to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But maybe the thing that bothers me about the movie is that the central gist of the movie, and you've seen this in the previews, you guys have watched the previews if you have, where the big thing is you have to stand in front of the mirror
to be watched
for like the whole night, which is something I could never wrap my head around.
Not stand in front of it, but just be there and not completely ignore.
Right. You have to be willing to be observed.
Yeah.
That whole thing is obviously, to me, the least important part of the entire movie.
Yeah, that had nothing to...
There's a very thin, tenuous connection to explain why that is, but it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then the other part that got me was as she's driving through the forest on her mission. At what point would you have stopped and turned around when there was no more fucking road?
Yeah, I agree with you on that, yeah.
Now, if you'd have had the road continuing through and what happened, that's a whole different story. But who in their right mind would continue on?
Yeah. Yeah, and they never really explain how anybody in the past has happened to wander into that area.
Yeah, you just see the board with all the missing people.
Yeah. So there are some things.
So there are bits and pieces that
don't connect. There's not enough explanation. There's not enough reasoning behind it. I will try to be positive to a point on this and say it's a lot more interesting and there's a lot more to discuss and think about with this movie than 90% of the movies that come out right now. Doesn't mean it all comes together. Doesn't mean the pieces all fit.
No, but it's a damn solid base.
It's interesting. It's an interesting failure. I'll put it that way. So, next week, Dave and I will review on Netflix Rebel Ridge, starring the great Don Johnson. I'm pretty much convinced this is going to be a modern-day take on Rambo. We'll see.
A B-movie Rambo?
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to get any better than Rambo?
You can't.
I will also have a review of Late Night with the Devil. Looking forward to giving you guys my review on that. I was hoping to do it tonight, but I came up about 10 minutes short. And
That's what she said.
I didn't say 10 inches. I said 10 minutes, Dave. Because I definitely would come up 10 inches short. And of course, we've talked about the fact that we're going to be reviewing next week live, along with STP, Stone Temple Pilots,
and Soul Asylum.
I will also be digging into the second season of The Old Man on FX. And on Netflix, I will finally get to watch the second season of Heels, starring Stephen Amell, of course, from Arrow. In terms of music, on top of our concert review, we will be reviewing the second single from Jerry Cantrell's upcoming album, I Want Blood. That would be Afterglow, and then a little bit of a collaboration with MC5. Of course, this stuff was recorded previously before the surviving members all passed away. This one with Vernon Reid of Living Colour, one of the greatest guitarists out there.
Yes.
The song is Can't Be Found.
But we found it.
MC5 do have one final album coming out this year. All right, little bit in terms of movie news. And then we move on to Moments of Silence. A couple trailers out there. I have not got to watch them yet, but very intrigued by Landman with Billy Bob Thornton as an oil baron.
Could
but
be.
Of course, this is a Paramount Plus show.
Yeah, so that's one
like
that
the one
knocks me out.
Yeah, that's the one streaming service you and I don't have. And then Wolfman. This is Universal Studios again, trying to resuscitate.
Trying to go retro.
Trying to resuscitate the old school monsters. And most of the time it fails miserably, so we shall see. I did not watch. I have never watched the one they had out, 10, 12 years ago with Benicio del Toro as the Wolfman. I think Anthony Hopkins was in that as well.
Yeah, it wasn't all that.
I still haven't watched The Invisible Man that came out, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, I haven't bothered with that one.
So, we'll see.
Because horror movies have just been so depressingly bad.
Well, because they try to do something different with them. Like The Invisible Man, they tried to make it about domestic violence. They didn't make it about the Invisible Man.
The scientist who goes insane.
Right. No, it's got to be about, he's got to be a wife beater. He's got to be an abuser. So, and have not watched the trailer yet for Wolfman, but I already don't like it because I can't stand the female actress in it. She was the young woman in The Americans who Matthew Reeves had to seduce.
Oh, who was in
her parents,
Ozark.
Yes, she's won multiple Emmys for Ozark. I just don't like her. Don't like her at all. Don't think she's a good actress, and she's the female lead in this, so already one strike against it for me. Now, we know Beetlejuice blew the doors off the box office this past weekend. $110 million.
Why?
Made more in 3 days than the original did in its entire run, I believe.
So sad.
The
first one wasn't that great.
You and I have talked about this. We grew up in that era, and that was never a touchstone movie for us.
No, it wasn't. It was okay. It was a one-time view.
Right. I have to admit, I'm tempted to actually watch it because it's on Max, the original, just to see what am I missing here. What did I miss the first time around? But I've never been a big Tim Burton guy either. Outside of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, that's the only Tim Burton movie that I really love a lot.
Yeah, Tim Burton is very. You either love him or hate him.
Yeah. But of course, the star of Beetlejuice is one Michael Keaton. But he says he is done being known as Michael Keaton because that's not his name. Shocking.
No, Hollywood lies?
A Hollywood celebrity going by a name that's really not their name? Because his real name is Michael Douglas. But he can't have that name.
Can't have that because of Michael Douglas.
So in the future, get ready for, wait for it, Michael Keaton Mellencamp. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Michael Keaton Douglas might be his name from here on out. He's an odd dude. He is different. I was reading the other day, he forgot.
You know when you make a copy of a copy of a copy?
That was funny. Multiplicity, one of the most underrated comedies of all time. I like pizza. That movie is hysterical.
Multiplicity is fan-freaking-tastic.
I like pizza.
That and Mr. Mom.
I'll take Multiplicity. I think Multiplicity
is so much better.
Multiplicity, vastly on. Go see Multiplicity. Find that on streaming. Don't waste your money on Beetlejuice.
No, go with Multiplicity.
Or what else? What other great Michael Keaton?
Oh, God.
Gung Ho.
Gung Ho was decent. What's the one with the mental patients who go out?
Oh, my God.
With Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, my God. See, I was going way back to his first big role with Henry Winkler.
Oh, Night Shift.
Yes. That's the one that really made him.
Yeah.
See, there's so much better stuff out there with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton Douglas.
See, we got you covered, kids.
Yep. But Multiplicity would be the one I would recommend first and foremost.
So good.
Yep. All right. Now we move on, of course, to the inevitable. The passings, the deaths this week in the world of entertainment and pop culture. It is time for moments of silence. And, of course, the big one this week. Yep, the great James Earl Jones. You might remember him as Darth Vader. Might remember him in Lion King as Mufasa. Or
Eight Men Out.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, not 8 Men Out. Sorry.
Yep. The speech he gives about baseball in Field of Dreams is just classic.
Fantastic. No, James Earl Jones is an iconic movie star.
Now, a lot of people debating greatest voiceover of all time, greatest voiceover voice. Is there anybody better? Now, sports fans, I heard, wanted to say John Facenda, the voice of all the old NFL films. On the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. See, that to me, that's iconic. It's tough. Somebody threw Morgan Freeman out there.
He does a good voice.
Yeah. But yeah, John Facenda. Oh, I love John Facenda. That's the voice of football.
James Earl Jones is more overreaching.
Yeah.
That's a niche versus the overall.
I got you. Of course, thoughts and prayers out to the family and friends of the great James Earl Jones. Sha Na Na. Remember Sha Na Na?
Yes, with their variety show on Saturday evenings.
One of the integral members of Sha Na Na, Screamin' Scott Simon, passed away here recently. Might be the most recognizable member after Bowser.
Yeah.
And then if you're into cool jazz, and everybody out there is, of course. Jazz legend Sergio Mendes passed away. So there you go, kids.
Prayers to their family and friends.
Yep. So I took it easy on Dave here in the weekend edition, even though I pummeled him in the sports edition with a ton of dumbasses of the week. He's only got 3.
Thank God. Sorry.
You don't like?
No, I'm still recovering.
Idiots?
Because we do these back to back for the kids out there.
All right. Well, I already know which one of these 3 you're gonna pick, but
maybe I'll surprise you.
All right. 3 contestants for this week's Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week in the World of Pop Culture. First up, we love reboots and remakes, don't we, Dave?
No, we do not.
Especially when they reboot or remake an iconic classic movie.
And fuck it up entirely.
Well, Peacock's going to do that for you. And I know this one, I believe this one means more to you than to me. I like this movie, but I know you cherish this movie. And Peacock is going to, like I said, fuck it up.
What are they going to destroy?
Peacock has announced they are going to do a remake, a series remake of The Burbs.
No!
Starring Keke Palmer. If you don't know who Keke Palmer is, there's no reason why I should explain who she is. She was in the last Jordan Peele movie, Nope. She was the sister.
Nope.
And she was in like an Uber Eats commercial, I think, recently.
Oh, God.
But it's PC. It's checkbox.
They're destroying a great Tom Hanks comedy.
Yep. And there are plenty of those as well. We talk about Michael Keaton. Tom Hanks has a list.
The Burbs, Volunteers,
Joe versus
The Man with One Red Shoe.
Yep. Bachelor Party.
Bachelor
Party. Party.
With chicks and guns and fire trucks.
One of my top 3 ever. One of my top 3 comedies ever.
And one of the most underrated, Joe versus the Volcano.
Brain
Cloud.
Oh my God.
I don't care where we go, this luggage is coming with us.
Oh, Joe versus the Volcano is so criminally underrated. That movie is hysterical.
Brilliant.
And of course, that was back when, before plastic surgery, Meg Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
When she was actually gorgeous and beautiful and
yeah.
cute.
Oh, along
America's
with,
sweetheart.
Yeah, when she was in Inner Space.
Yep.
With Dennis Quaid. That's
Martin
where they
Short.
met before they got married. On that set.
Yep. Yes, but they're going to destroy the Burbs. I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Bastards.
Now let's move over to another streaming platform. Going to make your life a living, breathing hell.
Of course it will.
This time it's Netflix.
What are they going to destroy?
They're not redoing anything. They're not remaking anything. They just announced a 3-part documentary dropping on December the 17th, which I think you need to immediately put on your list, because I know you're going to want to watch this.
Why is my eye twitching?
It's called Enigma. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Jesus God. Guess what I won't be watching?
As if this guy needed more. You, again, going back to our ranting and raving from the music segment about Dave Grohl, Aaron Rodgers does not deserve our attention. He's not as smart as he thinks he is. He's another one that's convinced. Taylor Swift is not as smart as you think she is. Don't vote for the president based on what Taylor Swift says, and don't vote for the president or do anything based on what Aaron Rodgers says. My God, people, why do we have to make all these decisions for you?
Make your own. Decide for yourself. Don't be a lemming.
God, they're going to feed his ego even more. Then finally, this personally disturbs me. I don't like it. Gives me the creeps. A California yoga studio has come up with a new version of yoga, which they call snake yoga.
So you're going to do yoga with snakes?
They have ball pythons in the studio that they let slither on the clients during their quote-unquote flow.
That's not so bad.
Oh, that's disgusting! Come on! You let a snake run all over your body?
I've held a ball python.
Good for you!
Our buddy Jamie had one as a pet. An
I
albino
can't hang out
named
with him
Matilda.
anymore. I can't hang out with him anymore. I can't. No. Now that I know this, I'm done. Done.
But he had to give it away once his wife
Once he
got
realized
pregnant.
it was an affront to society?
Once his wife became pregnant, he gave it away.
Why? Because it was going to harm the baby?
Potentially.
Yeah, yeah. And you wonder why I hate snakes. You just admitted, snake kills baby.
Potentially.
Snake kills baby. Snakes are evil. Go all the way back to the book of Genesis, and I'm not religious. The snake, the serpent,
is
tempted
the devil.
Eve.
The serpent's the devil.
It is. All right, so who are you voting for? Peacock with their remake of the Burbs, Netflix for giving Aaron Rodgers his own documentary, or my choice, the idiots in California. I was expecting you, when I say it happened in California, to at least do your normal line.
We were promised.
Yeah, but no, you were all cuddly and happy with yoga with pythons.
Because I know snakes are your foible.
That's mine. That's
I
my
know
vote this
that's
week.
yours.
That's my vote.
God, you know I have to go Peacock and destroying the Burbs.
I figured you'd go there. Yes. Yes. Even though both of us would agree that nobody needs any more Aaron Rodgers in their life. But yeah, I can't. The snake stuff cannot. I cannot abide the snakes.
I cannot abide destroying a great Tom Hanks comedy.
We should make a bet on something.
On how god-awful it's going to be?
I was going to say, we make a bet, and if I win, you have to watch this Burb show. I have to force you to watch the Burb show.
And then you
have the only way you do it.
Then you have to do Python yoga.
No. I'll watch something that you would say I wouldn't normally watch. I'm not doing anything with snakes. No, it has to be an equal trade here.
I thought we were.
That's not an equal trade. That's not an equal trade. You watching the Burbs and me having a disgusting snake on my skin. No, I'll have a heart attack. I will have a heart attack and die. That's what you want. No, you have to pick a show that I would normally not want to watch. If I lose the bet, I have to watch the show.
No, I refuse to watch the Burbs in any capacity.
It's a bet. It's a wager. That's all it is.
No. We are anti-betting.
Yeah, but we're not betting money. We're betting humiliation.
We are anti-betting.
We're all about humiliation here, Dave. We'll work on this. We're probably still a year away from this Burbs thing happening.
And it may not happen.
Oh, it'll happen. It'll happen. You know it'll happen. Because if it's a bad Hollywood idea, it'll
going to happen.
If it's an actual smart idea with a new story that's never been done before, and it's not checkbox PC, never see the light of day. Never see the light of day.
And there you go.
All right. We told you it's going to be a little bit of a short weekend edition, and there you go, kids. So we're done. We're wrapping it up.
Put a bow on it.
He's a conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane. Don't hurt
Say
yourself.
goodnight to the kids in a very loving and nurturing way, Dave.
Say goodnight to the kids in a very loving and nurturing way, Dave.
He did it! Yay! He's awesome. You're awesome. I'm awesome. We're all
awesome.
We'll talk to you next
Unless
week,
it's a
kids.
dumbass Hollywood idea.
See you next week.